Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of the Idaho House Republicans podcast, where you get to learn a little bit more about the people that you have sent to the State House. And today we are super blessed to have with us Representative Joe Alfieri, represents Legislative District 4, Seat A. He is in his second term, and welcome to the show, the Idaho House Republicans podcast, Representative Joe Alfieri.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's tell you a little bit about Joe. He's got a little different story about how he wound up in Idaho. He is actually an entrepreneur and businessman. He's still that, but he came from New York City. He opened up the first retail computer store, really supporting Apple, right? Which was,
among others,
crazy things. And then he was in the ad agency business. He did website design. He did corporate training, and he moved to Coeur d'Alene and his business development there. And he's part of the Coeur d'Alene Chamber of Commerce. He's on the Economic Development Committee. So you've just hopped right into the Coeur d'Alene. You're just part of the fabric there. And thank you for joining us again, Representative Joe Alfieri.
Can I put in a pitch for Shakespeare CDA?
Oh, yes, please. Yes, I saw that. Yeah. Tell people what that is, Shakespeare CDA?
Well, Shakespeare CDA is a new venture that started 2 years ago. I was invited to join the board by a friend of ours, a friend of the family's, and we are in our second year. Actually, we're about to enter our third year of production. It's a community theater doing some very, very good works in bringing the Bard to Coeur d'Alene.
And is it only Shakespeare, or do you do all sorts of plays?
At the moment, it's only Shakespeare. We're hoping as we grow in the future, we will bring in other plays as well.
Yeah. Good. Well, hopefully we can talk about this, and it won't, when we talk about our legislation, it won't be The Tempest.
Okay.
No, we don't want that. So anyway, you also are married to sweet Caroline.
Yes, indeed.
18 years. You have 5 children and 5 grandchildren.
Yes,
congratulations.
Thank
Quite a full quiver. So we always start with telling people about your legislative district. So tell people a little bit about where your legislative district is and what your legislative district cares about. What issues drive them?
Well, my district is the city of Coeur d'Alene.
Mm-hmm.
It encompasses entirely the city of Coeur d'Alene. I'm in my second term. I'm very proud to represent that district and those people. I say the good people of Coeur d'Alene, but I represent everybody in Coeur d'Alene, the good and the bad. Even
Everybody.
If we disagree on some issues.
Right.
And I think the issue that one of the issues that got me elected was election integrity. I care deeply about that. I was concerned about what I saw happening across the country. I wasn't necessarily saying that we had that issue in Idaho, but I was concerned that it could come here. So I campaigned heavily on that, and fiscal responsibility as well. I'm distressed to have seen the state budget grown as dramatically as it has over the last 10 years, and wanted to be able to rein that in.
So let's talk about the committees that you serve. What committees are you on?
I'm on the State Affairs Committee, and I am on the Local Government Committee, and I'm Vice Chair of the Judiciary and Rules Committee.
Congratulations on that. Senator Skog is a fine man.
Yes, he's a good man to work with.
And State Affairs is always fun. All the tough stuff comes through there. As Representative Heather Scott said the other day, babies and guns.
Yes.
So the tough issues, a lot of social issues come through there.
That's a very accurate description. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about election integrity. Why don't we start there? So what bills did you run in the previous terms that dealt with election integrity? And then you have one in this session as well. So let's talk about ones that you ran before this session.
I have run several bills regarding absentee ballots because my concern in election integrity has been that it is too easy to cheat on the absentee ballot because you are not standing in front of a person at the poll verifying who you are by providing an identification of some sort. And that's always been a concern of mine. So I have run several bills to attempt to more closely define who can apply for an absentee ballot. I think absentee ballots are legitimate. So I'm not trying to eliminate absentee ballots. But there are certain reasons why you should be able to use an absentee ballot, and there are certain reasons why you should not be able to use an absentee ballot. Absentee ballots, I don't think, should be used for merely convenience. Absentee ballots should be used if you are prevented from voting because of your work requirements. For example, you're a firefighter, you're on duty 24 hours. You can't get out to vote.
Military
is another one. You're in a nursing home, you're sick, you can't physically get out. You live in an area, and there are several of these throughout the state, where there is no polling location because the distances are just too great. So that's absolutely legitimate for an absentee
Right.
ballot. My contention is that if you can go to Walmart, you can make the trip to Walmart, and you can go to serve your state once or twice a year.
Right.
You can go to support your country. You can go to participate in the Republic once or twice a year.
Right.
And that's what I've tried to do. I have gotten a couple of bills to the floor. We have not gotten it past the floor. So it's been an issue.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, Godspeed on that. And you have brought now House Bill 719, which is trying to deal with the reality of out-of-state money and its impact, especially on Idaho, where this is not a big market. You can buy a lot of media for that. You can really impact someone's campaign a lot, because the average person probably raises $20,000 to $50,000 for a representative seat like your own. So out-of-state money can have a huge impact. So talk about what you're trying to do there.
Yes, this is a bill introduced by myself and Representative Skog earlier this week to limit campaign contributions and expenditures to Idahoans. Pardon me. So what we're trying to do is to prevent this massive influx of money from out of state. And we have seen in recent elections where as much as $500,000 have been dropped on local elections. And as you mentioned, if we're spending about $20,000 for a district election, that's a lot of money. So imagine the impact that can be had by someone bringing in $150,000
Money like that, yeah.
targeted money from out of states who don't necessarily represent the interests of Idahoans.
So what is the people that are supporting you, why do they love it? And the people that have concerns, what are their concerns? And do you expect to make any changes to the bill? Like how's that you expect that's going to work?
We are looking at making a couple of changes, and one of the changes might be to and we're looking at the drafts right now. One of the changes might be to allow relatives to contribute.
Right, because not everyone lives in Idaho. You might have
I still have relatives in New York.
Of course you do.
They haven't contributed to my campaign, but I can work on that.
That's inexcusable.
I'm not sure that's true. So that might be one change. But there have been several elections, and I'll talk. I want to talk about one. One was Representative Julianne Young. This is one that hurts. Julianne,
very fine legislator,
wonderful legislator, very, very good, well-spoken woman who presented impeccably on the floor, and she lost by a handful of votes. I've heard 2,
it was
4,
less than
or
5.
6. Was it less than 5? That's what I heard. There was an out-of-state group from Texas,
Young Americans for Liberty. Yeah,
thank you for mentioning the name. Who dropped, I'm told, over $100,000 or $150,000 on the campaign against her, which was one issue. But the second issue is that what they contested was wrong. They accused her of voting certain ways on bills, and they got it wrong.
They did,
and that just burns. That's just wrong. And it could have been somebody else. It could have been one of our Democrats who had that kind of money dropped against them from out of state. And I'm opposed to that as well.
Right.
This is not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is an issue about Idaho. Is Idaho going to control its future? Is Idaho going to be in charge of what happens? Or are we going to be taken over by large donors from out of state who are going to come in and sway our elections? That should not happen. We have ballot initiatives. I know we're going to go there as well. We have the same issue with ballot initiatives, where Idaho is now seen as a target.
Right.
Idaho is a target.
And it's cheap to influence.
It is very cheap to influence. Well, in my area, in Coeur d'Alene, we don't have a local television station.
Right.
We don't have a local radio. Well, we have some very small radio stations, but we don't have a major radio or television station. And we have one newspaper. So it's very, very influenced to come in and do a massive media buy and beat someone.
And the massive, in terms of dollars, it may be massive in terms of its impact, but the cost is not that prohibitive.
It's very low. Yes.
Yeah, it is alleged that Yal put in over $1 million into the elections and did have an impact on some seats. And I think the point there is, let's leave it to the constituents, and let's in fairness provide them with the accurate voting records, accurate story. And if people want to replace someone, it's up to them, but it's at the ballot box and it's
Sure.
done in a fair basis. It's not done by out-of-state money with false narratives coming in to influence the elections. That's really the crux of your point.
That is the crux of my point. And that one of the things that attracted me to Idaho was its size, because I felt that you actually had a voice because of the size of the communities, the fact that you could go sit in your city council chambers and that you can have conversations with your elected representatives was very important to me. I've always been a political wonk. I've never been involved in politics before coming here.
Oh, okay.
But I've always paid attention to it. And it always felt remote to me because the idea of being able to talk to a congressman was something I'd never considered, or a senator or a governor or anything like that. And it was always so far out of reach. Whereas in Idaho, they're accessible.
Very accessible.
I'm accessible. All of the representatives and senators are easily accessible.
It's an open state house.
It absolutely is. It's great. Yeah, it's wonderful to be able to do that. And I think people are shocked by that when they come here.
I think it would be harder for you if you were in New York to meet someone on city council.
Yes.
Then it would be impossible for you to meet someone at the State House. And here, the State House is quite open and everyone's willing to engage. And you and the representative senators are actively engaging their constituents, it's fantastic.
That's our job.
Your bill, House Bill 720, deals with city elections that are cities that are greater than 25,000 in population. What is that bill?
The bill expands what already exists in state statute, bringing the population level down from 100,000 to 25,000 by making the elections to city councils district elections, rather than community-wide elections. I think that's an important measure. It's an important step for us to take because I believe that you are better represented by someone who is local to your community rather than at large.
Right. At one point, I had done some research on Boise City Council, and I think it was 3 or 4 of them that lived within like a 2-mile radius of each other. It certainly wasn't representing the entire. So when they went to that districting, you really got a lot more voices and more opinions and more neighborhoods, more different voices heard. So I think it's a good bill. So what's the feedback on that bill?
The feedback's been very good on that bill, and that came through committee. I forget the vote, but it was overwhelming.
And which committee did that come through?
State Affairs.
State Affairs. Yeah, know that one.
There are other aspects of that bill that I think that are important, worth mentioning. And one is that by reducing the amount of people that you have to talk to get elected, you're lowering the cost. So, and I'll take Coeur d'Alene as an example. A city of 57,000.
Okay.
If we have 6 council members, we are now requiring those council members to talk to 12 or so thousand people, 10 or so thousand people. By campaigning to those people, per person cost is dramatically, not per person, but your overall cost is dramatically lower. So we're not mailing the 57,000 people. We're mailing perhaps the 8 to 10,000 people.
Right.
What that does is it allows more people to run for office.
Right.
Because the cost for running is not prohibitive.
Right.
So we're opening up the process. We're opening up the Republican process to allow more people to participate. And you're also getting better engagement by the council members, I hope it goes this way, with their constituents, because you no longer have to decide, oh my gosh, there are 6 council members. Which one do I call if I've got to complain about something that's going on?
The other thing too, Representative, it allow the candidates to actually go door to door, meet the constituents, where in 57,000, that's a real Herculean task. And obviously you want that face-to-face interaction with your city council person, and you want to be able to look at who's going to be representing your interests face-to-face. So yeah, well, Godspeed on that.
I think that citizens should know who represents them. That's a pipe dream because many just don't pay attention to government at all. But they should at least have the ability to do that rather than to have this White Tower group.
Right. Now, you mentioned initiatives before and discussing initiatives, and I'd like to chat with you a little bit about that. There are, I think, 25 plus states that don't allow initiatives to come before the voters. And we have seen some initiatives. There's one right now being brought to the Idaho Medical Cannabis Act. being brought by the Natural Medicine Alliance of Idaho. And right now, there's been 3 legislative sessions where the legislatures basically said no, 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 and like hell no.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you can bring an initiative that's against the representative government that we've sent. And this is just one example. I just cite that because it happens to be current. And there's obviously an abortion initiative coming too.
Uh-huh.
And there's been, the legislature's made its mind known very clearly on that as well. So what is your thoughts generally on initiatives? And just what are your general thoughts on initiatives?
Well, I'm opposed to the initiative process because I think we made the decision some 250 years ago that we were going to be a representative republic. And the representative republic functions by having the populace place people in office to carry out their will. So the initiative process is entirely opposed to that. The initiative process says we're going to make the decision on certain issues.
Right.
And that's just wrong. That's a direct democracy, which I think is flawed. Has been proven over millennia that the direct democracy does not work. The Republican process is the proper process. If there are issues that should be brought to the legislature that people feel strongly about, we're open to that, and that's the way we function. We continually get recommendations from constituents saying, "Oh, you should run this bill. You should do this. You should do that." It's the way it ought to be.
Right.
It should be a deliberative process of people that are elected by the community at large to make these decisions, not an out-of-state group that drops $100, $200, $300, $400, or $1 million or $3 million on the state to go out and get signature gatherers who ask people questions that are led in one direction, designed to just get signatures rather than tell the truth and get those measures on the ballot.
Well, the crazy thing is that it's absolutely legal to lie about the intention of the initiative in order to get a signature, and the Ninth Circuit actually upheld that, which is just because it's a First Amendment right. And I'm sitting here like, wait, you can deliberately lie about something that would potentially change the Constitution of our state, and that's okay. The whole thing just it's just mind-boggling to me.
I stopped at Albertsons on the way home last night to pick up some juice, and there was a lady who was gathering signatures for the abortion initiative, and she said, "Would you like to sign my ballot signature, whatever it was, petition rather petition? This is about birth control."
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, I remember years back, there was a initiative about the horse racing.
Oh, yes.
So the guy had a horse racing bib on, but he was asking me to sign the Medicaid expansion initiative.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, wait, what is going on here?
Yes.
So anyway, though, it seems like it'd be cleaned up. And, when you talk about House Bill 719 and out-of-state money for elections, I'm like, well, should we do anything about all this money pouring in from out-of-state interest to change our laws through initiatives?
Right.
I mean, isn't it the same?
It is the same. It absolutely is the same. I want to mention it also in relation to this, that Representative Skog has a great bill, which just now passed.
Yeah, just passed the House.
Just passed the House this morning, which requires that signature gatherers not only display a name badge, but display the name of the organization or company that is paying for them to be out there.
Right.
Which is absolutely wonderful.
Transparency is good.
Absolutely.
You wanted to discuss a little bit about dual citizenship. What's on your mind?
I am concerned about what I see elsewhere in the country. Again, I have not seen this as an issue here in Idaho, but I'm looking down the road at what possibly could happen in the future, where people who are not Americans by birth, we'll start there, do not have American values at heart because of where they grew up, are running for elected office and winning. And we'll mention names. Ilhan Omar is an example. Mamdani in my hometown of New York City is another example. These are not people who have American values at heart because they've not grown up in America. They don't have American parents. So I'm very, very concerned about that.
So it's really another election integrity angle.
It is an
really.
election integrity angle, and the founders addressed this for the presidency by requiring natural born citizenship to
Right.
hold the office of presidency. We have
Exactly.
not done that here. I'm looking to do it.
You also have impact fees on your mind.
Yes.
What would you like to see done about impact fees?
This is
Tell people about what impact fees are.
Well, an impact
first.
fee is when a county or local jurisdiction imposes a fee on a group that's building homes and uses that fee to finance a certain
roads, sewers,
or
schools,
whatever it may be. And this particular one was brought to me by a Kootenai County Commissioner, Bruce Matari, who said that the county had decided to impose an impact fee for the cost of its jails and county courthouse. And a local jurisdiction decided not to collect the fee. Not to collect the impact fee. So what that does is obviously you have to go out and collect more of a fee from other areas. So it's an unequal distribution of the cost, which is supposed to be shared by the entire county.
Interesting.
So we're paying for the sheriff's facility, but we're going to say this city is not going to contribute in that, and which is wrong. It's just wrong. If the county commissioners, an elected body, has decided to impose that impact fee, you may agree or disagree with the fee.
Right.
The point is they are the elected body carrying out their function. So it's wrong for a city to
So they're just ignoring the will of the county commissioners.
Exactly. That's what they're doing.
Incredible.
Yeah. Well, it's the argument.
Sounds like the flag bill, right?
Well, it's the argument about local control. Yes, there was an argument for local control, but there are certain things that are beyond the local control, and this is a county imposed fee.
Right.
So county should collect it. That bill.
And if you don't like it, take it to court and figure it out. But you can't ignore the will of
the law.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't ignore the law. So that's
pretty
a bill
easy.
that's right now in local government.
You ran a resolution on behalf of firefighters.
Yes, I did.
Tell people about that resolution and why it's close to your heart.
It is close to my heart. Let me tell you the story of how my experience. Caroline and I were coming home from a church function, a church picnic that afternoon, and we could see the smoke on the hill where we lived. It was actually on the other side of the hill that we lived on.
And where are you living at this point?
Cherry Hill in Coeur d'Alene.
Okay.
So we saw the smoke, and Caroline works for the hospital, and she got a text message saying, "Be prepared to come in."
Mm-hmm.
So as I exited the freeway and started to drive up a hill, it was covered with police cars and firefighters, and just a tremendous. We live in a rural area, so it was shocking to see a police car, let alone dozens of them, and heavily uniformed men in protective gear. So we got home and turned on the news and found out what was going on, and that there was a shooting on Canfield Mountain.
Yes, I remember
There
this.
was a fire that was set to attract firemen.
Yes, it was deliberate.
And the man who set the fire, a deranged individual, no question about it,
murdered
two firemen.
Yeah.
And seriously injured one more. One of the firemen was at the local fire station below my house. So, firefighters are very brave people to begin with. There's no doubt about that. They walk into burning buildings. Firefighters walk into burning buildings and they carry people out
on purpose.
On purpose,
Right.
They walk into where we're walking out of.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't expect those men to be shot.
Yes.
They don't expect that as part of their job duty, that they're going to be a target of some deranged individual.
Right.
And that's what happened. And I brought a resolution which has gone through the House unanimously and now on the Senate side, and it's working its way there, to honor these men for the sacrifice they made for the community.
Well done. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it's the least. Should we do? I wish we could do more.
Right.
But to see men killed on their watch defending us is just it's a very terrible thing, and I felt it was the least we could do.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Hard to transition to another House bill. But you are running a bill dealing with the bulk purchases of lottery tickets.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us what the problem is and that you're trying to solve.
Okay. This was actually brought to me by the Lottery Commission, and I was unaware of this, but it is an issue. It's a minor issue, but it's an issue that we need to once again protect Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
What has been happening over the last few years is there are groups that are forming who have figured out a way to game the lottery.
Oh.
And what they do is they watch ticket sales now we're not talking about Mega Millions or that type of lottery. We're talking about state lotteries, state level lotteries, where we're offering $1, $2, $3 million for the prize.
Mm-hmm.
And they're watching the number of ticket sales and they're getting to they've gamed it to the point where they can figure out with X number of tickets available, if I buy bulk purchases, if I buy 5, 10, 15, 20, $30,000 worth of tickets, my chances of winning are dramatically increased.
Wow.
And over the last year, the Idaho Lottery Commission has paid out almost $4 million to out-of-state syndicates.
Wow.
On these bulk purchases. So, a couple of things there.
So it's like card counting almost.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is like card counting. Yes. Because they can see what's been sold and the prize hasn't been awarded. So therefore, I can get, bless you, I can get, I've got a much greater chance of winning. So there was one group who bought a ticket, I believe in Moscow, and they won $1 million.
Wow.
Second group bought a ticket near there, and they won $700,000.
Wow. Not Idahoans.
Not Idahoans. The money's gone out of state. Almost $4 million paid out of state in the last year. So it's unfair just in the nature of it. But the other thing that happens is that money's not coming back into Idaho.
No.
It's not going to some family that can use it, or it's not being circulated back in the economy. The winner is not going out and buying a house.
Right.
Or a car or a boat or something in Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
The money's going away. We're never seeing it again. Now, there were about 15 other states that have had similar legislation.
Interesting.
So we did it here, and it passed the House.
And is it where did that come out of? State affairs or business?
It came out of state affairs.
State affairs.
Yes.
And so it's going to go to the Senate side now.
It's on the Senate side.
Okay.
I understand it's in the third.
So it's through the committee and now it's on the floor in the third reading.
Yes, it's on the third reading in the Senate.
So it's it's going to be voted on very soon.
Yeah.
Well, that looks pretty promising. That will get passed.
I think it's a minor issue, but again, it's this thing about what is Idaho? What is Idaho all about? Let's take care of ourselves before we think about other things.
I like that.
Yeah.
Representative Joe Alfieri, who represents Legislative District 4 in Seat A, second term. We just thank you for coming on the Idaho House Republicans podcast. And as we always say before we sign off, God bless the great state of Idaho. Again, thank you, Representative Joe Alfieri.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Sunrise on the Snake River Plain, red, white, and blue in the window pane. Work boots dusty from yesterday, but we're back at it the Idaho way.